Why was there so much tragedy and turmoil in Marlon Brando's family even though they had plenty of money? Because from the day he was born, he really didn't stand a chance at being normal. His father was an absent figure, aggressive, distant, always on the road. His mother was an actress, as drunk as his father was absent. Nobody noticed little Marlon, so he had to act the clown in order to make it through the day, distract his parents, distract the world, and distract himself. When he was still very young, he had an inappropriate relationship with his female babysitter, as he himself later stated. His mother still drunk, his father still absent, and on top of that, perpetually unfaithful to his mother. Years later, as an act of revenge, Marlon slept with his father's new wife, his mother having already passed away from her alcoholism. Marlon Brando went on to father as much as 17 children and paid for at least as many abortions. When he died, he left behind an enormous family, baby mamas of all nationalities, nations, races, and creeds, including a harem in Tahiti. As much as he resented his father and pitied his mother, he never had an example of normal. A normal family life wasn't what he knew growing up, and I don't think he ever learned it. I also don't think he cared too much. He was once quoted as saying, "It's man's imperative to spread one's seed far and wide." Well, he did that. Did it hurt him, break him apart, that he was unable to give his children the stability he himself always craved but never got? Did he hate turning into his father in a sense, if not an even worse version? Quite likely. I've seen many documentaries and just about every interview he's ever done, and it's clear the man was haunted. He had his demons, he tried to fight them, but even as he may have won a few battles here and there, in the end, he lost the war. It sure was an interesting life he lived, though. I'm sure he left his grandchildren with some crazy stories, but he probably didn't leave them much more than stories, as when he died, he left behind 14 children, 2 died before him, as well as over 30 grandchildren. He famously disinherited some of his children and grandchildren, notably his grandson Tuki Brando by his daughter Cheyenne, who tragically killed herself in the 1990s. However, his family was so huge, so scattered, and so divided by the time he died that there's no way each member got a large sum. Also, in all likelihood, not an awful lot was left by the time Brando died. He loved good food, exotic travel, exotic beauties, and each of these in excess, so while he wasn't broke, he wasn't good for more than a few million, which isn't an enormous sum for an actor of his stature. In an interview with Connie Chung in 1989, Brando admitted to being forced to work in a lot of movies of questionable quality and writing just because the money was good so that he could use it to support his 9 youngest children financially with the profits. I reckon a lot of his income wasn't even spent on himself but his loved ones, which pretty much depleted any inheritance. It's doubtful they lived very lavishly, seeing as though there were so many Brando heirs around. Either way, his life was well lived. He had fascinating experiences, made inventions, changed the world of acting forever, and slept with just about anyone in Hollywood with a heartbeat and good looks. Ate the best food, traveled the world, and made the most of his time on Earth. When Brando died, one of his friends eulogized him thus: "Marlon died at the age of 80, but packed 160 years into those 80.